Okay. No, the story, the story, the way it's supposed to be told, as I understand it, is you really want to sit in the last row because the last row is the most humble place. And who are you, right? So you have to get here early to sit in the back. Yeah, right. That's fine. That's fine. So I think the temple is going to tilt with all the people on this side, but that's okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. Because I was going to say all the lefties over there. So it's your fault then. I don't know that one. That's right. That's right. But it's 1 against 12, so that doesn't work. Welcome everyone. I am honored and delighted and excited to be leading services tonight. When I was looking at what the portion was and preparing my drash, it was a week or so ago, and I wasn't paying enough attention. And yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day. So before we start, let's take a moment of silent reflection on that. Okay, thank you. We will begin our service as we always do with song, and we're going to start on page 142. 142 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Baruch hu ni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim kadosh baruch hu. Seichem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Depart in peace, O messenger of peace, angels of most high, majesty of majesties, holy one of blessing. Now we go backwards even though it looks like forwards. We're going backwards to page 120, 121. And in honor of hosting our own egg tonight, we asked Dory Bierstock to come up and bless the candles. Please. I got it right here. I'm sorry? I'll help you. Read that, and then we'll talk about that.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Continue.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead and light the candles.
Oops.
An empty one?
Oops. That's the way I feel right now, just in my head. Yes.
Together?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, banu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are hosting in honor of your mother.
My mother turned 100 on the calendar, but her yard site was 15 years ago.
You want to share some thoughts about your mother?
The most important thing is that her original family name was Germanic, Cronenwet.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, I looked a little bit into the genealogy and I saw names. She was raised a Christian. But,
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
But I saw in the genealogy names that did not look only German, but also Jewish. So I raised that. And at 2 different times in my adulthood, she first said, well, everybody didn't like the Germans. She meant all Germans.
Mm-hmm.
And later I raised it again, and she said, I really don't know enough about it all. But my impression from reading the genealogy is that they really had in the maternal line Jewish blood. But I haven't been able to go back. She was raised in a foster home, so there's loads of wrinkles.
Oh, my goodness.
But anyway, that's just one of the things that connects to here, and one of the reasons that we did this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Rabinowitz, can you come up and lead us in the Kiddush on page 123? Book's right there, yeah. You need the book, Jerry? Come on.
Can't remember. It's only 40 years. I don't know. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kadsha, b'yahava uvratzon hinkit lanu, zicharon l'maaseh bereishit, ki hu yom tehila l'mikrei kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki banu b'charta, Yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kadshecha v'yahava uratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
you.
sir. So we have now lit the festival candles Shabbat being a festival, and bless the wine, and we can move on. Herb, could you come up and lead for us on page 125? Where has this week vanished?
Where has this week vanished?
Well, there's some answers right there.
Let us look for the answers. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Thank you. Thank you. If you'll turn now, please, to page 128 at the top of the page, and join me. Hine matov humanahayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov humanahayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov hine mahatov yadarai yadadadadadadai. Hine matov hine mahatov yadarai yadadadadadadai. Hine matov humanahayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov humanahayim shevet achim gam yachad. Turn now, please, to page 133. That went too far. Yes. Shelley, would you come up and read for us a psalm at the very bottom of the page 133? This one here.
Sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm, has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Raise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise.
Thank you. Thank you. And that brings us to 138 and 139, Lecha Dodi, the first, second, fifth, and ninth or last verse. And remember, on the last verse, we rise to greet the Sabbath bride as she comes in the door. 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha di likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmianu el amyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemu tiferet v'li tehila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lehu v'nelcha ki mechor habaracha mirosh mikedem em sucha סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באו מאורך ומאורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עליך נעלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise and face the entry. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה. תוק אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And that brings us to page 144 for Atzi Kaddish. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, u'v'chedecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, ubizman kariv, bimaru, amen. Yeheshme rabba mavorach, me'olam, maya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitbar, v'yitраman, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithale, v'yithalal, Shemei Kudasha Barechu, Leila Min Kol Beracha V'Shirata, Tush Bechata V'Nehemata, Dami Ram Be'alma, Bimaru, Amen. We turn the page to 146. We have now warmed up, gotten in the mood, gotten in the right frame of mind. And so now we're ready for the communal call to worship. If you would please rise. We're on page 146. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Ve'olam ba'ed. Hamevorach, Ve'olam ba'ed. May be seated. Praise Adonai, to whom all praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom all praise is due now and forever. And we turn now to page 149. Alexis, since you're up, we're going to read on the bottom of page 149. Jerry, watch the door.
This is an hour.
Sure.
This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Ham Araviv Aravim.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you. And now we turn the page to page 150, and we do the back and forth love song, if you will. This first one is God's love for us, and then the Shema and the Ve'ahavta on our love for God. So we're on page 150. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torat u'mitzvot kukim u'mishpatim utanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shoheinu u'kumenu na'asiyach bechukecha v'nizmak b'divrei Torahecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam ba'ed ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu ubachem nehege yomam b'layla ve'afta tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. It brings us to the Shema. Please rise or remain seated as you wish. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Ba'ed. Genevieve, would you like to do Ve'ahavta for us? Please? No. We're all going to be silent. Nobody's going to say a word.
You get to sit there. Have a seat.
Please be seated.
Here we go. V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levacha u'kol nafshecha u'kol mehodecha v'hayu avarim ha'ele asher anohi mitzvah hayom alavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'tibarta bam v'shivtaha v'teha Uvleftaha v'derech, uvshottaha uvkameha, uvshartam leod al yadecha, ve'ayu latotafo ben einecha, uvtavtam al mezuzot betecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yatem kedoshim Elohem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeititem me'eretz Mitzrayim, Leo lehem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohim, Emet.
Good.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. We go to page 157. Tanya, would you like to come read on the bottom half of 157? Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So our failings are many.
Start. You start here.
Okay, bottom half. Okay. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered.
At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way, inspired by prophets and instructed by sages. Time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Thank you. Thank you. So this next one on page 158, Nicha Mocha, this is the moment, as the story goes, this is the moment that we've escaped Egypt, run through the Red Sea, the waters come back together, we're safe on the other side, and so Miriam leads, and the other women lead us, the newly freed slaves, in this song. So sing it like that. Mi chamocha baili madonai, mi chamocha noedor bakodesh, no ratihilo, oh sefele, no ratihilo, oh sefele, ma'alehutecha ra'u banecha, bo'ke chayam nilifne Moshe Miriam, ze'eli anu bi'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam ba'ed. B'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov. Ugalo mechadis chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga Yisrael. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. And that brings us to page 161. Eric, are you able to come read? Are you tied to that machine?
I'm free, right?
Micha Mocha. 161 on the bottom.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return, spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporetz sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Israel ve'al Yerushalayim.
Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Thank you. All right. That brings us to the central, well, no, before that, on 162, Vishamru at the top of the page. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Bnei Uvein, Bnei Yisrael, oti leolam. Ishamru Bnei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim bi'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat, vayinafash, Shabbat, vayinafash, Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, et Hashabat, Lasot, et Ahashabat, Ledorotam Beritolam. Okay, now on page 164, 165. In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. Will you please rise for the Amidah, the central prayer? Start on 164. We'll do 164, 166, 168, and 170, and together, and then remain standing and continue either with what's on the page or what's in your own thoughts until you get to 178. Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Seftai Tifta. Ananananana Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Seftai Tifta. Ananananana Yagi. Yagi Tehilatecha. Anananananana Adonai. Ananananana Seftai Tifta. Ananananana Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai. Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Bimotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vechonei Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot Ve'imeot, U'mevi Gula B'nei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Zorat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lechoshia. Morid Hatal, Michael Chaim Bechesed, Michael Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Beropei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechaye Menemunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bial Gevurot, Umido Mehelach, Melech Meimid, Umechaye, Umatzira Meshua, Ne'eman Atav Hayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, V'Kedoshim V'Chayom V'Halula Selach, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. on page 179 in the middle. Lo yisagoyel goy cherev, velo v'yumdu o milchama. Lo yisagoyel goy cherev, velo yumdu od milchama. Lo yisagoyel goy cherev, lo yumdu od milchama. Lo yisagoyel goy cherev, Lo yimdu od milchama, lo yisagoy el goy cherev, velo yimdu od milchama. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. And don't stop after beating your swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating them and make them into musical instruments. And whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first. And now, at the bottom of 180, Oh, say shalom bimbramav, Uya say shalom aleinu, Be'akol Yisrael, Imaru, Imaru, Amen. Oh, say shalom bimbramav, Uya say shalom aleinu, Be'akol Yisrael, Imaru, Imaru, Amen. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, Shalom aleinu, Yakol Yisrael, Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom. Whoops. Yakol Yisrael. Now we turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach, the prayer for those who are in need of help, support, consoling for physical or emotional upset and stress. There are those in our lives who suffer from illness of body and illness of spirit. May the Misha Berach, a prayer of healing and hope, petition God to grant healing for those in need. And we have Joyce Salinas, Svetlana Lozovic, Fartak Chang, Elaine Kaufman, Christina Knapp, June Lilly, Rita Bregman, Greg Rattenborg, Jean-Pierre Chalouche, Stacy Roberts Orr, Jason Brooks, Charlie Laufer, Larry Leichman. Do we have other names? Allison? And Phil Zeidman. Okay. And please join me. Misheberach Avotenu Mechor Abraha Lemamodetenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mechor Abraha Liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing. Rif Ruach Shlema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. as usual, the Torah portion of the week is chock full of stuff and you have no idea which way to turn. I didn't. This is Shemini. It is Leviticus 9 through 11. It's only 2 chapters. And Leviticus is right in the middle. It's the 3rd book out of 5. And it's all the laws and all the rules. And the first portion of the portion is Aaron doing the first sacrifices in the Mishkan. For about 4 or 5, Eric, 6 weeks, we've been talking about the Mishkan and then building the Mishkan and how to do it. And there's no leeway. It's done this way. Very exact. And so now that it's done, Aaron's going to go in and do the first sacrifice. On the 8th day, Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel, and he said to Aaron, "Take for yourself a bull calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, both of them without blemish, and offer them up before the Lord. And say to the people of Israel, take a male goat for a sin offering and a calf and a lamb, both a year old without blemish, for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for a peace offering to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil, for today the Lord will appear to you." So Aaron drew near to the altar and killed the calf for the sin offering, which was for himself. Then he killed the burnt offering, and Aaron's son handed him the blood, and he threw it against the sides of the altar. And they handed him the burnt offering, piece by piece, and the head, and he burned them on the altar. Then he presented the people's offering and took the goat of the sin offering that was for the people and killed it and offered it as a sin offering like the first one. And he presented the burnt offering and he offered it according to the rule. And he presented the grain offering and took a handful of it and burned it on the altar besides the burnt offering in the morning. And I'm distilling it. I'm not giving you all the steps. The morning. And then he killed the ox and then the ram and the sacrifice of the peace offering to the people. And then Aaron lifted up his hands toward the people and blessed them. And he came down from the offering of the sin offering and the burnt offering and the peace offering. And Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting. And when they came out, they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. And the fire came out from before the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the pieces of fat on the altar. And when all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. Can't imagine a more glorious moment. We've been building up to this. For several weeks, we've been hearing about the building of the Mishkan for the Ark of the Covenant and how it should be made and how it should be used and how finally it's completed. And Aaron makes the first sacrifice in it, and the Lord is pleased and accepts the offering. The people rejoice. It's an extremely, extremely happy occasion. What could go wrong? Now, Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron. Remember, Aaron and his sons are the priestly line. Each took their censer and put fire in it and laid incense on it and offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them to do. And the fire came out before the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. And Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord has said. Among those who are near me, I will be sanctified, and before all the people, I will be glorified." And Aaron held his peace. Because the 2 sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, offered unauthorized fire to the Lord sends fire down to consume them. Hold that thought. We'll be talking more about that. And then the portion goes on to talk about what animals are clean and what animals are not clean, what animals may be eaten, what animals may not be eaten. So back to Nadab and Abihu. The Torah portion was very difficult for me. It's very disturbing. Why did the boys have to die? Why did they not get a second chance if they made a mistake? Why did this joyous celebration of the new Mishkan be cut short by this violence? Instead of instructing me or giving me insight or inspiration, all I was left with was questions. There's a lot to try to digest here, and while studying the Parsha, I came across a couple of commentaries that struck me as making a lot of sense and touched some of the things I was thinking about, maybe answering some of my questions. The first one's from Rabbi Sachs, Jonathan Sachs. The shock is immense. For several weeks and many chapters, the longest prelude in the Torah, we've been reading about the preparations for the moment at which God would bring his presence to rest in the midst of the people. 5 parshiot describe the instructions for building the sanctuary. 2 further parshiot detail the sacrifice offerings to be brought and how they're to be done. All now is ready. For 7 days, the priest, Aaron and his sons, have been consecrated into office, and now comes the 8th day when the service of the Mishkan will begin. The entire people have played their part in constructing what will become the visible home of the divine presence on earth. And with a simple, moving verse, the drama reaches its climax. Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting, and when they came out, they blessed the people. God's glory was then revealed to all the people. And just when we think this narrative has reached its course, a terrifying scene takes place. Aaron's son, Nadav and Abihu, take their censers, put fire in them, add incense, and they offered unauthorized fire before God, which he did not instruct them to do. Fire came forth from God, consumed them so that they died before God. And Moses said to Aaron, this is what God spoke of when he said, among those who approach me, I will show myself holy. In the sight of all the people, I will be honored. Celebration turns to tragedy with the death of the 2 sons. The sages and the commentators offer many explanations. Nadav and Abihu died because they entered the Holy of Holies where they were not wearing the requisite clothing. They took fire from the kitchen, not the altar. They did not consult Moses and Aaron. They did not consult one another. According to some, they were guilty of hubris. They were impatient to assume leadership roles themselves. They did not marry, considering themselves above such things. And yet others see their deaths as delayed punishment for an earlier sin, when at Mount Sinai they ate and drank in the presence of God. All these interpretations represent close readings to the 4 places in the Torah where Nadav and Abihu's death is mentioned, as well as the reference to their presence at Mount Sinai. Each is a profound meditation on the dangers of overenthusiasm in the religious life. However, the simplest explanation is the one explicit in the Torah itself. Nadav and Abihu died because they offered unauthorized, literally strange, fire, meaning that which was not commanded. To understand the significance of this, we must go back to first principles and remind ourselves of the meaning of kadosh, which is holy, and thus of the mikdash as the home of the holy. The holy is that segment of time and space that God has reserved for his presence. Creation involves concealment. The word olam, universe, is semantically linked to the word ne'elam, hidden. To give humankind some of his own creative powers, the use of language to think, communicate, understand, imagine alternative futures, and choose between them, God must do more than create Homo sapien. He must efface himself to create space for human action. No single act more profoundly indicates the love and generosity implicit in creation. God, as we encountered him in the Torah, is like a parent who a parent who knows they must hold back, let go, and refrain from intervening if their children are to become responsible and mature. But there's a limit. To efface himself entirely would be equivalent to abandoning the world, deserting his children. That God may not and will not do. How then does God leave a trace of his presence on earth? Jewish thought insists that truths are embodied precisely in particular times and places. There are holy times, like the 7th day, the 7th month, the 7th year, the end of the 7th septennial cycles, the Jubilee. And there are holy people, the children of Israel as a whole, and within them the Levites, and within them the Kohanim. And there is a holy space, eventually Israel, within that, Jerusalem, within that, the temple, in the desert. They were in the Mishkan, the holy and the holy of holies. The holy is the point of time and space in which the presence of God is encountered by tzimtzum, self-renunciation on the part of mankind. Just as God makes space for man by an act of self-limitation, so man makes space for God by an act of self-limitation. The holy is where God is experienced as an absolute presence, not accidentally, but essentially. This can only take place through the total renunciation of human will and initiative. That is not because God does not value human will and initiative. To the contrary, God has empowered mankind to use them to become his partners in the work of creation. The most fundamental mistake, and the mistake of Nadav and Abihu, is to take the powers that belong to man's encounter with the world and apply them to man's encounter with the divine. Had Nadav and Abihu used their own initiative to fight evil and injustice, they would have been heroes. But they used their own initiative in the area of the holy. They erred. They asserted their own presence in the absolute presence of God. This is a contradiction in terms, and that is why they died. God needs us to encounter him, not because he needs mankind, but because we need him. If civilization is to be guided by love, justice, and respect for integrity in creation, there must be moments in which we leave the I behind and encounter the fullness of being in all its glory. That is the function of the holy, the point at which I am is silent in the overwhelming presence of there is. That is what Nadav and Abihu forgot, that to enter the holy space or time requires ontological humility, the total renunciation of human initiative and desire. The significance of this fact cannot be overstated. When we confess God's will confuse God's will with our own, we turn the holy, the source of life, into something unholy and the source of death. This classic example of this is the Holy War Jihad Crusade, investing imperialism with the cloak of sanctity as if conquest and forced conversion is God's will. The story of Nadav and Abihu reminds us yet again of the warning first spelled out in the days of Cain and Abel. The first act of worship led to the first murder. Worship generates power, which can be benign, but can also be profoundly dangerous. And from Rabbi Daniel Mickelberg. Years ago, when I was visiting a friend in Rochester, we opted to take the train into the city for a show. Once comfortably seated, I kept trying to start a conversation, and I was oblivious to my friend's succinct answers and looks that I was getting from fellow passengers. Finally, my friend offered some advice. Dan, you're not supposed to make noise on the train. Who knew? I was reminded that often that we were unaware of and surprised by social norms, the do's and don'ts. Often we simply conform, but it can be meaningful to reflect on these practices and potentially innovate with care. Aaron's sons, Nadav and Abihu, learned the lesson the hard way. In fact, they don't even get a second chance to demonstrate their learning. When Aaron and his sons offer sacrifices on behalf of the Israelites to ask forgiveness for wrongdoing, Nadav and Abihu offer alien fire. It's unclear what alien fire is, but God responds by immediately killing them in anger. It appears they went off script, behaving inappropriately in their positions as leaders of the community. The story leaves us with more questions than answers, and we're called to delve into the mystery. Typical biblical commentaries castigate Nadav and Abihu for crossing boundaries, ignoring protocols, focusing too much on themselves. We often continue to focus on doing the right thing, but perhaps there's more than one right way. Let's flip the script. What might we admire in these two young men? How might we see ourselves in the story? Perhaps the lesson and the narrative here is not the innovation is prohibited, but rather that we need to be cautious how we innovate. The idea is not new. In fact, it aligns with Rashi's commentary on the verses where he elaborates that Rabbi Eliezer says, Aaron's son died because they pronounced halacha in the presence of their teacher Moses. Rabbi Ishmael says they went into the sanctuary in a drunken state. In other words, their transgression was not the act itself, but the disrespect that they showed Moses and God with the carelessness and the way they approached precious responsibilities. Rashi's teaching leaves space for different perspectives on living our faith, as long as we do so with care and the purest of intentions. Is it time to talk more on the train? Maybe. Why does it need to be so quiet? More importantly, let's not be afraid to make noise as we engage with trickier texts like Parshat Shmini. We are not meant to accept the rules as we engage with we are not meant to accept the rules without question. We are not act callously. Instead, we are reminded to be fully present in the responsibilities and commit ourselves to living out the ideals in ways we find meaningful. We need not be afraid of the sparks that can result from creativity and passion. Let us instead celebrate our role as carriers of Torah and venture forth as we continue to thoughtfully challenge the norms and innovate our practice in new directions. Somebody once told me it's not okay to break the rules by accident. You need to know the rules first, and then you break the rules on purpose for a reason. One of the things that came to me after all of this was the nature of rules. Rules are put in place, theoretically at least, to make things work better, to be more fair or more just, and give everyone equal opportunity. It's imperative that you need to know the rules and understand them before you break the rules. You must not break the rule by accident, but only on purpose once you understand what the rule is for and how it's supposed to be implemented. Take, for example, as stated in the last part of our portion, the rules about foods that may be eaten and may not be eaten. These rules were not so much for health or well-being, but a way to set the Jewish people apart from the rest, to help make us a cohesive unit. Remember, we're a brand new species here trying to become a nation, to make them not better, but different, as a way to differentiate them from the rest of the people and be something that could unite them. Today, most of us, I would suggest, do not follow these dietary rules. We know what they are, but we do not need them to observe them. We don't need them to differentiate ourselves necessarily. We do this not because we are ignorant of the rule, but because we've made a conscious decision about them. As you go forward this Shabbat, think about what the rules are and understand why they are in place and the way you can interact with your fellow human beings and how you can interact with God and how these interactions are different, and about ways to make your life a reflection of your ideals and do it with the appropriate intentionality. Shabbat Shalom. Thank God that's over. And like we had 6 or 8 weeks leading up to the Mishkan, that was the lead up to Lee Harris and the announcements. And talking about the rules, Lee is impersonating Evan Acheron tonight, apparently. And we're glad you're here.
So is Evan.
So is Evan.
And Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Skip, for leading tonight's service. And thanks to Alexis Hamill for working the greeters table and wearing the greeter name tag. Tonight's Oneg is sponsored by Dory Bearstock in memory of her mother. Thank you, Dory. We'll be closing out April with 2 events. On Monday, the 28th, the Temple Israel Book Club will meet at 7 p.m. via Zoom to discuss The Glassmaker by Tracy Chevalier, contact Allison Harris for more information. She's the one sitting over there. It's 7:30 p.m. Dave's Swingtime Big Band will be in the social hall for an evening of dance music featuring not one but two vocalists. The suggested donation is only $5 at the door, so take advantage of it. Now's the time to sign up for the 105th anniversary gala celebration on May 17th. If you haven't already done it, do it. It's sure to be a spectacular event. Reservations must be made by May 5th, so time is flying by. The dinner will be catered by Asena Restaurant, and there will be dancing, a no-house bar, and a photo booth. And you can mail in or drop off the reply card you received with your check, or head to the website to sign up and pay online. And the seats are $150 per person. Don't miss out on this historic celebration as we honor the lifelong contributions of the Cohn, Kaufman, and Ryback families. As part of the anniversary celebration, there's a world map on display in the social hall. If you haven't looked at it, take a look at it at Neoneg. We're asking everyone to contribute their family history, tracing where your ancestors came from and where they arrived in the United States. And it's sort of interesting to you, and it'll be interesting to all the rest of us. So, take a look at the map and see how it's progressing. You can place some stickers on the map tonight at the ONEG, or you can fill out a survey form at the greeters table. There's also a link in the TI Times to submit a survey form electronically. And then May is Jewish American Heritage Month, and we're partnering with the Alameda Free Library System to sponsor two events. On Saturday, May 3rd at 10:30, Dr. Jen Levine will speak about Sandy Koufax and Mark Rothko on their contributions to American culture, with a family craft session to follow. It'll take place on the West End Free Library at Santa Clara Avenue and 8th Street. 2 weeks later, on May 17th at 2 p.m., Rabbi Minster will host a discussion of Jewish contribution to American pop music, film, and culture, featuring a range of film and music clips. This event will take place right here, well, actually right over there, at the Bay Farm branch of the Alameda Library. And next week's Shabbat service will be at 10:30 a.m., a morning service on Saturday. Rabbi Minster will lead the service, and Chef Laney and the staff at Gather and Grab will host a luncheon. And our annual general meeting will be held on June 22nd at 10 a.m. We hope you'll attend and be kind to the people who have to answer the questions, like me. You can register online at our website. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Evan.
Yes. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Gracie. One other quick note, the service next week is Saturday morning. There is no Friday night service next week. Okay, so now we turn in our books to page 586 for the Aleinu. And if there is anyone now observing a yard site, please come forward to open the ark. And the rest of us, please rise when the ark is open. Yeah, go ahead. 586. Aleinu Shabeach Adon HaKol Latei Gidulav Yotzer Bereshit Shelo Asanu Legoye Haratzot Velo Samanu Kimishpo Kodama Shelo Sam Kelkenu Kakem Begor Aleinu Kiko Hamonam Paraknu Korim, Umishakavim, Umodim, Lifnei Melech Malkei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Ne'emar V'haya Adonai Lemelech HaKol Haaretz Bayom Hahu Yeh Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad. Thank you. You may be seated. We think now of our loved ones whom death has taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men who wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking in the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you with something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I have known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Do we have anyone observing Shiva the first week or Shloshim the first month? Okay, we extend our condolences to the families in our congregation who are grieving the passing of those loved ones who have passed in the last 12 months. Morton Barak, Stella Campbell, Barbara Choate, Gabriel Fettig, Carol Foreman, Arlen Gulko, Morley Helfand, Audrey Hyman, Michael Hyman, Mark Klein, Kenneth Kaufman, Scarlett Lehman, Dick Levine, Brian James Newberg, Arona O-Ring, and Adeline Speaker. Any others in the past year? Okay. And then our hearts also join those who are mourning the loss of loved ones who passed at this season in years past. Alice Liesel Baran, Barbara Bird, Alexander DeHaan, Phyllis Green, Hilda Haas, Ruthine Hepburn, Ida Cohn, Esther Olken, Ira Sussman, and Rose Weiss. Any other names? May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved. And now we rise together to support those who are in mourning and recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma v'vrachute yimlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chei kol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam almei almaya, Yit barak v'yishtabak v'yit pa'ar v'yit raman v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar v'yit haleh v'yit halal shemei dekudashah b'rihu. Le'ela min chol b'racha v'shirata, tushbichata b'nehemata, damiram v'alma v'himru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shlamaya, yachayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bim ramav, uyaseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. May their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated and turn to page 626. Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kimalkeinu, Mi Kamoshienu. Noted Eloheinu, noted Adonenu, noted Amalkeinu, noted Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. You are our God. You are our eternal one. You are our ruler. You are our redeemer. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's reassemble in the back in the social hall and enjoy the oneg that Dory and Herb put together.